Hey, what's up, everybody? John Herringer, Chief Motivator over here at Method 3 Fitness, and I'm joined by Dr. Justin Brink. Thanks for being on the digital learning experience with us.
Thanks for having me.
And Dr. Justin is coming in from San Jose as well. He's got Premier Spine and Sport. It's a local chiropractic and recovery place of wellness, I'm going to say, because you do a lot over there.
Do a lot.
And there's Premier Spine and Sport, and there's also the Premier Recovery Lab.
Correct.
So can you speak to just a little bit of both? Because I love both.
Yeah. The chiropractic side is more of a movement-based side.
Okay.
We're not traditional chiros. It's more exercise, performance enhancement, get your body to do what it should be doing, and then go and do what you want to do as an athlete.
Perfect.
The recovery side is I saw that athletes and people weren't recovering well, so we're giving them an adjunct to sort of what we do on the chiropractic side of things. So we've got cryotherapy, infrared sauna, Normatec compression boots, hyper ice, the vibrating, massagers. We also do offer chiropractic and like soft tissue therapies on that side of the office as well.
Awesome, awesome. So what I love about that, guys, and that's what Dr. Brink is here to actually talk about is how to eliminate pain, some great recovery strategies with how to eliminate pain and then improve your performance. So what I love about that is the approach of just trying to get you back to movement. I mean, a lot of what we talk about at Method 3 is improving the way you move, eat, and think. So ultimately, you can not just achieve your goals, but live stronger for today. And what that means to us is being able to live life on your terms. And that really is what Dr. Brink is getting to with all the recovery, whether it's chiropractic or movement-based, and then other recovery therapies, which I would highly encourage you to check out, so that it will actually accelerate your recovery and get you back to doing what you want to do.
That's it.
Fantastic. Okay. Now, little did I know today, I would be the actual guinea pig, because as we're talking about it and what we're going to go through today, I said, wow, okay, this is ironically probably everything I should be doing for my own recovery and performance improvement. So this is going to be a great day. I'm excited.
That's right.
So specifically, we're going to look at, I know a lot of people that we encounter have issues with knees or shoulders and hips. And so today we're going to be focusing on specifically hips and shoulders, correct?
Hips and shoulders.
Okay. So we'll start with shoulders and make our way down to the floor with some hips.
Yep.
Cool.
All right. Simple thing, shoulder. We always look at is, do you actually have the capacity to move as your shoulder is meant to move? So when we like to do overhead activities, let's take CrossFit, for example. Nothing wrong with CrossFit, but a lot of people don't have the capacity to actually raise their arms above their head.
Right.
So if they can't get above their head, they cheat somewhere else. Whether it's through the neck, it's through a mid-back, or some other compensating pattern. So the first thing that I want to assess is just, do you have the ability to just move through a shoulder? So I'll ask you, go ahead and just raise your arm straight above your head.
Okay. So,
yeah, just
here,
go ahead.
Okay, neutral, no tricks?
It doesn't matter,
right,
just
cool.
lift. Yeah, so again, what I look for, is, do you have that ability to really pull and pull back? So if I'm gonna look at you from the side, I should be able to see your ear in front of your arm. But then what I want to see, from here is, you're good, is, are you cheating through this area? So I call it scissoring.
Yes, a little bit.
So if you are creating this little hinge pattern here, and you see these ribs starting to stick out, I want you to try and pack those ribs down. So if you pack the ribs down through here, you're going to feel more tension build here into the shoulder.
And through my lat a little bit here.
Right, so what I want you to do is be able to pull this back a little bit further. Right, so from here now, as we're up into this position, I just call it flossing. So can you now turn the wrist and go ahead and turn it into internal rotation? Perfect. What I look for here is, are you turning at the wrist and the forearm, or is the shoulder following? Your shoulder didn't move, right? So since the shoulder didn't move here, what I tell people to envision in their head is you have an X on your bicep here. And as you turn in, you're trying to pull this X away from you, right? So as you're trying to turn in, as you rotate in here, I actually want to see rotation through the shoulder joint. Right, so now that X would be pointing, out towards me, and then vice versa. Now we can go into external rotation, right? And now can we pull that X around, and now you can see how much more I can get you into this position.
Yeah.
Right, so we look at...
So with a good mobile shoulder, you should be able to see some, even though this is not a joint that's going to be, well, it is, I guess, a joint that's supposed to be have that much movement, the capacity to do that much movement.
Yeah, it's a ball and socket. So it's meant to be a ball and socket, so we have to use it like a ball and socket.
Yeah.
We like to use like a hinge joint. Here and here.
Yep.
But when we ask it to do other motions and it doesn't
like
want to go there.
Like water polo. There we go. Okay, I forgot how to do it.
Yeah,
apparently I had a lot more mobility when I was a teenager. Who would have thought?
That's right.
Okay.
So now think about when you want to go into any overhead motion, right? And we can't go into the rotation we need, right? We're going to make up for that somewhere else. So if someone gets stuck into external rotation this way, we make up for it
Right.
by creating movement here, right? And then what we wonder why we have mid-back issues or mid-scapular issues,
Right.
Because why? We're learning how to cheat our mechanics to get a desired outcome, right? So a simple thing would be just big shoulder circles.
Yep.
You know, do you have that ability to lift up and around, and like if you put your arm next to a wall, right? Could you draw a big circle without your torso having to rotate?
Gotcha. So a simple drill is going to be coming up like I did before.
Yeah.
And then trying to
Yep, keep
compact
that-
my
yep,
rib
keep
cage,
that
like you
packed.
said.
Other part is watch what the head does, right? Because we want to keep head in a neutral position. We don't want it, sort of
Okay.
poking through the hole. And then reach your capacity. How far back can you reach to begin with? Breathe through that. Reach the fingers to
Don't
the
forget
ceiling.
to breathe.
That's
I
right.
have a tendency to hold my breath with these drills, as I've been told. So yeah.
Reach your fingers to the ceiling. Try and create an elongation through the shoulder joint. Sort of imagine you're trying to separate out
That
here.
feels really good
Right?
now. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
again, now we create a little internal rotation. So we're going to turn that palm around. And as you start to reach back behind you, right? What I don't want is this
Yeah.
shoulder to come
Okay.
forward, but I still want you to keep reaching as far back as you can while you're still rotating that hand.
And am I
as far
moving
around.
down now?
You're moving back behind you.
Okay. So I'm
Yep.
coming back down
Yep.
this
and
direction.
then keep rotating your palm because I want it to try and face the ceiling. So hold right there. Right. So now if I'm going to watch you here, you're tilted off to the side
yeah.
a little bit.
Yep.
Right. And then again, from here, can you still
yeah.
rotate around?
I can.
Right?
Yeah. It's just a matter of
So we
doing
know
it.
you can do it.
Yeah.
Just what's your active ability to do
Well,
it?
and that's interesting. So, I mean, just having you move me into that position wasn't painful at all. It's almost like I didn't know my body could get in that position
Yes.
to begin with.
Yep.
Right. So some of this is, so do you actively do that with some of your clients? Like take
yes.
them through these ranges? Okay.
Yes.
That's,
We will
that's
take you
great.
there first, right? And at least try and get the brain to pattern it.
Yeah.
And then once we can hold you and establish a new position, say, okay, well, I'm going to let go, and you have to squeeze whatever you got to squeeze to keep
Yeah.
you here, right? So now you have ownership over that newfound position.
Right, right, exactly, yeah. So we did, one of our coaches was getting into some of the end range conditioning
Yeah,
drills.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah,
literally
yeah.
just getting your
Yep,
body to understand how it can get to that point.
Yeah.
But sometimes just retraining your brain
Yes.
to know that you can actually get to that point.
That's right.
And I think, I mean, I'll speak for people that may be watching this. You may be seeing, I don't know if you're seeing my shoulder going like, oh my God, I think my shoulder would pop off if it did this.
Sure.
But that literally was pain-free. That whole thing was pain-free. And I think sometimes we get into the whatever you want to call it, complex or philosophy in our head that all of a sudden this movement causes me pain. That's
Yeah.
it. And that's the one that does it. And it's like, well, is it? Or is it something else? Is it some sort of,
Behavior.
compensating, behavior, compensating pattern that you don't even know you have, right? To where every time you go overhead, what happens to the rest of your body? So hopefully you saw some of these cues from whatever angle that was. That's awesome.
Yep.
Cool. Anything else for the shoulder? Or is that one of the primaries you'll help people do?
That's where I would have most people start.
Okay.
Because again, it's a building block.
Yeah,
Right. Again,
yeah.
If you don't own your body as a human, right? For me, when you come in, if you're to come in to see me, I don't care what you do with weights.
Right.
Because you
Yeah.
don't own your shoulder.
Yep.
So I don't care what you do when you put a weight over it.
Yeah.
Because you still don't own your
You
shoulder.
can't do it. Yeah.
And you
Okay.
wonder why you hurt.
Okay, I'll put
You
the
know?
weights down, I promise. Yeah.
That's
All
right.
All right, so that was the shoulder. We're going to get to the hip. And I know just with our brief introduction, this should be a funny one for everyone
right.
watching. So, okay, so down on the floor we go.
So this is going to be a hip 90-90.
A hip 90-90.
Yep.
Okay.
So we can
and,
go right leg forward.
And specifically, what would this be utilized to help people with?
Well, runners. Any
Okay.
rotational sports. Where's all our power come from?
Yeah.
Right. If you think
Yeah.
about where the biggest muscles and bones are, they're in our
Yep.
pelvis, right?
Hips
Our
and
hips.
glutes, yeah.
Right. So if the joint itself, no different than your shoulder, it's a ball and socket, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't rotate as it's supposed to, we typically are going to transfer energy somewhere else,
Mm.
a low back or knees, right? So again, a lot of times people say, well, I have knee pain when I run. Okay, why? Right? It's typically not a bad knee that you have, it's the bad mechanics that are making your knees stress even harder, right? So if we create a bad knee, I'm going to look at foot and the hip.
Gotcha.
So and again, if this is now unable to accept the energy it needs to, again, we have to create energy and movement somewhere else.
Yep.
Right. So typically the two smaller joints above and below is going to be a knee or L5S1, typically
Yep.
in the low back.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so ironically, I was telling Dr. Brink, everyone still see me down there? Yes? Okay, great. And I have had some little low back injuries over the last X number of years. But I do know that I have really tight hips. So this should be a treat for everyone at home. All right, so we're going 90-90.
So go 90-90. And so again, goal from here, we just want straight 90 degrees behind the knee, 90 degrees in the front of the knee. You're perfect there. Good.
Okay.
And then what I love to just show people is, do you have the capacity here first just to take your right hand off the floor.
So 90 degrees, if you guys can see, I'm just making them the angles with my legs right there, 90 degrees at the knee, correct?
If I put like a block in between like foot and knee here, we should have a rectangle or a square.
Got it.
Is what we typically should have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully
nice
that paints a nice visual for you guys. And then you're saying you have to eliminate this right hand.
And then
okay.
if you can, take that right
hand. This feels
away.
great when the right hand is down. I could lounge here forever, but he's going to make me get rid of it. So here's where
and what we can
compensating.
See is, you are trying to now create a counterbalance with both arms by bringing them over to your left-hand side.
Correct.
Right? So if you've ever had like any right side low back issues, right? I'm looking at
that's exactly where I just injured it.
The left hip right here, right, is internal rotation, right hip is external. So you don't have that ability to create some better, internal rotation here.
It's horrible, and I know that. It's horrible. Yeah.
And so you're going to feel some cramping in the glute. You may feel some cramping here in the left QL area. But the goal here is to, can you get tall for me, right? And if we have to put training wheels back on, put the right hand back on the ground again, and prop yourself up.
I feel all these muscles lighting up right now.
So as you bring this hand closer to your hip, and you can use like a yoga block or something to block you as well, right? So you're upright a little bit more. So I'm just going to say, I want you to get tall through your spine. So as you get now tall, you're going to feel muscles working more. As you get tall, try and slide this knee another inch to your left. So as you slide it, out, just straight, like push into my finger here. Push, push, push. You're going to feel tissue open up on the inside more. You're going to feel the glutes fire a little bit more through here. Again, try and get tall again. And then if you want to go here, make a fist into this left hand, right? So essentially what you're trying to do is you're trying to decrease tension on your right arm. Yeah. And I want you to transfer this energy into this one right here as you get taller at the same time. So as you slowly take off, you are trying to maintain that good spine alignment.
Hopefully this looks better, everybody. I'm working hard over here, okay?
Right. While you keep getting tall and keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing.
Yep.
And this is just sort of be that beginner stage of this 90-90 position.
Okay, that's a good beginner stage. So just out of curiosity, where do you go from there? Okay. So that's my, I have got to nail that first.
Yes.
And practice that like crazy. And then what?
And then so from here we can start to play.
Okay.
Right? And so as you get tall again, you can use your right hand as that tripod if you need to.
Okay.
You can keep it on the ground. Squeeze left ankle, just try and lift left ankle up off the ground.
Oh boy.
But again,
so the irony,
trying to transfer energy.
Yeah. Forward. Oh yeah. The irony here is that, again, our lead coach Keith has been really into a lot of different movement modalities, and he is like a spider monkey when it comes to this stuff, and showed us these things. Actually did a teach back.
Nice.
And I probably failed that too. So again, I can't even.
Let's go back to sort of active and passively do the shoulder, right? So if I take you here, right, I know passively, this is where you should be able to get to. So if I let go, I want you to create that active control here. Squeeze whatever you think you need to squeeze to keep this right here, and I'm going to slowly let go. So 3, 2, 1, squeeze, 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 squeeze. Good.
Okay, all right. So that's the building block, and then that is step 2 after that.
That'd be step 2.
So I tell you what, guys, we all have our Achilles heel. Apparently, I found mine, but I will say it's good to know that, so some of these things, some of the reasons that I could be, not necessarily could, but definitely are, but could be experiencing some of the low back issues with certain lifts because I'm compensating for other things that are just,
that could be day-to-day living, not the gym.
Yeah, and so the irony is that I knew I had tight hips, but not to the magnitude of being able to do certain movement patterns that he would probably deem like, you need to be able to nail this, right? So like here's the step, as you mentioned, the step 1 building block. So I say that for reference, not to say that I have the most amazing mobility or abilities that anyone else watching this doesn't have, but that a lot of these things that we sometimes think are just, I should be able to do that. You kind of come back to this like building block, and it's like, wow, that's extremely difficult. I mean, it's akin to, for those of you who know, our director of nutrition, Sue, is also certified in Pilates, and I remember doing a few Pilates movements with her thinking, it's just some core work.
Sure.
No big deal. And then, probably 15 seconds into it going, okay, what do you want me to say, uncle? I don't know what to say here. Because we think we have these certain abilities, and yet when we test the movement or modality in a certain way, it's different. So I can tell you this 90-90, I think we practice kind of moving up and over.
Yep.
But I was probably compensating the whole time with an tweaked spine. So interesting. Yeah. Awesome. So I hope you guys will stand back up now. I hope everyone watching got some great tips on that. 2 very basic exercises, but great for recovery. And I think what I wanted you to hear Dr. Brink said there was, maybe you can repeat it, You said the issue was saying the knee, but you're going to look at hip and
Everything
foot.
above and below.
Above and below,
Yep.
right. And automatically we've identified a pretty specific area where, okay, this is going to be a main area I have to work on. So hopefully you guys got some great strategies, 2 very simple things to do. I will say, hopefully you're also watching where and how my body was moving so that you just don't go through the movements, but you're also aware of how your body is compensating. The packing in the rib cage in the beginning, right? Mm-hmm. I don't even know what you would call this, what I was doing on the floor there with that hip exercise, but trying to grow tall instead of compensating, but also things you can do to make it easier, hence the yoga blocks and things that get you into those positions. Because the thing that I think is key is teaching your brain, right? A lot of this is just proprioception. It's getting your body to know, like, hey, you can get into this position without pain. Your brain just doesn't know it yet, right? And sometimes it's really useful to have someone guide you into that position. So fantastic. And so that's great strategies for hip, shoulder, low back, ultimately. Well, I guess knee, because you said above and below. Awesome, man. So this is great. Anything else you want to add to that?
My biggest things I tell people is own the basics.
Own the basics.
Own the basics.
Yeah.
Right? Be great with the basics, and then everything else becomes easier.
Sweet.
So
Premier Spine and Sport is Dr. Brink's facility over off of Cherry and Albany Expressway. Yeah. So check them out. We'll have links in the show notes as well as to the recovery lab. And again, I highly recommend, I know everyone does their own for health and fitness and CrossFit or Method 3 or this or running or do marathons. What we don't take care of sometimes though is owning the basics. And if you can go to someone or get some extended recovery to make sure that you can own the basics, I for one may go see Dr. Brink here to work on some of these things myself, then it's gonna make everything else you do better, right? It's gonna make exactly what we say at Method 3, living stronger for today, that much easier to do. Because at the end of the day, all this stuff is so you can enjoy the activities, the exercises, and life the way you want to. So thanks again for tuning in to another great digital learning experience. Dr. Brink, always a pleasure.
Yes.
Till next time. All right, take care, guys.